Hey guys, Jaggers here, and today we are back in Gwent, the Witcher card game, with a ranked ladder staple that is a discard Bran Skellige deck. And I've got a competitive version and then a slightly more budget version for those of you guys who maybe want to try it out with fewer rare cards. So I call it the Bin Man deck because we're just throwing all of our cards in the graveyard or in the bin, and then we're bringing them all back. And this deck is really interesting because you typically will get through nearly all of your deck. Occasionally I have maybe one or two cards left over, but in the grand scheme of things, you do get through your entire deck. And you've basically included a bunch of cards that are good to have in your graveyard. For example, the Clan and Crate Raider, if you discard it, it actually gets resurrected. So if you use, say, King Bran's ability, discard up to 3 cards from your deck and add 1 base strength to them, then shuffle your deck, you could then discard these Clan and Crate Raiders and they'll come straight back. So these are actually really good cards to discard. Similarly, we have the Queensguard. And with Queensguards, when you play one or resurrect one, it resurrects all 3. So Queensguard are another option to get them in your graveyard, because then if you play one, it then resurrects the other 2 and adds 1 base strength to your Cerys unit, wherever it is. So I feel like if you're running Queensguard, you need to be running Cerys. Cerys is an 8 strength gold that can get super buffed by, playing Queensguard multiple times. And if you can play all 3 every round, for example, that's like 9 strength given to your Cerys, which is kind of ridiculous. And then also, when moved to the graveyard, she gets converted to silver. So, you can always play her on the second turn for points, and then resurrect her with Sigdrifa or with Restore, and get those points again. So she's like another kind of strong option. On top of this, for cards to move into the graveyard, we do have Olgierd, resurrect at the start of the round and lose 2 base strength. So, if you throw him into your graveyard with a discard, for example, the next round he'll then just get pulled back out. And because of the Skellige faction ability, at the start of the rounds 2 and 3, you add strength. Even though he's losing 2 strength, he's also gaining strength, so he doesn't deteriorate quite as quickly. Another good card for this deck is the legendary card Morkvarg. He basically behaves the same as Olgierd and gets you points on the round continuously, but I don't have him. So I haven't been running him personally. Then we have some interesting, I guess we'll do our gold cards first, and then our silver cards. So typically for Skellige, you don't want to win the first round because on the second and third rounds, you're getting a lot stronger. So we have Man Bran for that round that you don't want to win. You draw 3 cards, keep 1, and discard the rest. And the thing is, discarding cards isn't necessarily bad because you can get them out of your graveyard with the Restore. And a lot of cards get benefits from being discarded. So Man Bran, it's nice. It also gives you like a card advantage. So that if you play this, you draw 1 card. So then on the round that you've lost, you still have an extra card, which is nice. We also have Ermion, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. And so again, if you end up with Clan and Crate Raiders in your hand, for example, you can discard these. And it's a nice way to just get through your cards to try and find the cards that you need to win the game. Svanriga is basically a kind of cheaper version of him. Draw 1 card, then discard it. But he can be targetable by Decoy, for example, or by your Resurrects again. So if you really need to find Cerys, for example, there's lots of ways to find her. Then we have Yennefer. Yennefer is just a deck staple. I love her to bits, and she's really, really strong. Just, as another kind of win condition, basically. It's a single card that can do upwards of like 30 plus damage if they don't deal with it or let the round continue. Anyway, then we're talking about our Queensguards. As we're resurrecting them a lot, we also have Dreg Bondu. Add 3 strength to 2 non-gold units in your graveyard. So if these are in your graveyard, you can then add 3 base strength to them. And then when you resurrect them, and they all get resurrected, you have really strong Queensguards. If you want even stronger Queensguards, we have the Shieldsmith. And similarly, you can play Dreg Bondu on Olgierd or Morkvarg if you have them as well. We have our Shieldsmith, add 2 base strength to a non-gold unit, so then you can buff up your Queensguards some more, and then you can resurrect all your Queensguards. You have a super tough Cerys, and life is generally good. Sigdrifa and Restore are in here for Resurrect. Decoy allows you to replay, some of these silver cards. You could get an extra Resurrect, for example. Alzur's Thunder, I think, is just nice for removal of maybe problematic cards. And Lacerate is also good just to kind of clear a row. But that's more or less the deck, and this is the one that I like to play in Ranked. I'll show you guys my budget alternative and talk a little bit about that, and then we'll jump into a game. Okay, so as you can see, this is a fairly similar deck, but with a few kind of cheaper options. We've taken out all of the legendaries, for example, and tried to make things a little bit more affordable. We're still running Yennefer, we're still running Berna, and we're still running Ermion, because Ermion is really nice for the discard. Yennefer is just a generally strong card, and Berna, again, she's good for the kind of discarding mechanic. And if you're going to run a discarding deck, you really need ways to discard cards. If you don't have these, you could, I guess, run Clan Dim and Pirates. Clan Dim and Pirates, when you play one, you discard the others from your deck. It's really nice for deck thinning, but, these are nicer alternatives. And we have good old Geralt there just for base strength. In terms of our silvers, we've popped in Cleaver. Cleaver is a neutral that's good on a lot of in a lot of decks. He locks a non-gold unit on the battlefield, so he stops its effect from triggering, and he can fit in any deck. We've put Yuta in, who's just a free silver. We have Svanrigger again because of the draw card effect. Again, if you're going to go for a discard deck, I do think like some of these cards are kind of necessary. And we had Sigdriffer. You could instead run Restore. You know, it depends what you have. Like, I like to run both Restore and Sigdriffer, but if you only have one, you know, pick one. I actually probably think that Restore is maybe the better option just because Restore, it allows you to resurrect a what's it called? Like a permadeath unit. So you could restore a Priestess of Freya and then use the Priestess of Freya to resurrect something else, for example. But they're kind of much of a muchness, and it depends what you prefer. Now, you'll notice that instead of Queensguard, we've gone with Skirmishers. I think, like, Queensguard are really, really good if you have Cerys, but if you don't, then the Skirmishers, you know, they have nice base strength. They gain 3 when they're resurrected. They synergize nicely with the Shieldsmiths. And, yeah, they're just a generally kind of strong card. I will say that I think the Queensguard are good, and they do synergize maybe a little better with Drake Bondahu, but Drake Bondahu you could still run in this deck if you have him, and run, like I say, these Skirmishers instead. The other card that we have that's a bit different here is the War Longships. They remove 2 strength from a random opposing non-gold unit whenever a unit on your side is destroyed or discarded. So whenever you play these, and then you start discarding cards, and these start shooting holes in your enemy. And you can see we've got D-Bomb and Scorch. So these are just kind of silver staples that fit in lots of decks. So, you know, you start with Scorch, and I recommend getting Dimeridian Bomb quite early because it can be quite useful. But again, if you don't have, you know, all of these cards, you can run things like Prize-Winning Cow. You could run Olgierd. If you have Blue Boy Lugos, you found him in a pack, maybe he's just generally good in most Skellige decks. But that's kind of it for the budget version. So I'll jump into a game with the ranked Cerys deck, and then I'll also do a game with the budget deck to kind of showcase both of these decks.
Do not test my patience.
Mead! For mead!
Okay, so we're up against Radovid, which is most likely Radovid control. This matchup isn't too bad for us because we can kind of get a lot of things out of the graveyard should we need to. In terms of the mulligan, we don't want Clan and Crate Raiders, and we only want 1 Queensguard. So we're going to try and get rid of the Raiders and see what we can find. Drake Bondahu, nice. A Resurrect is nice. We've got Sigdriff and Olgierd, but no gold cards, unfortunately. I think what we'll mulligan here is one of the Alzur's Thunders. And we got a gold card. I'm not too worried about the lack of gold cards because, like I say, we can, you know, get through the deck. We have options to try and, you know, thin the deck. So this isn't terrible. In terms of the opening play, I like to open with something like Olgierd if I have it. Just to kind of start to get things kind of set up. Alternatively, you can start by, you know, throwing your Cerys, your Queensguard into the graveyard and just getting rid of them. That's also a nice option.
Nothing to pick up when I'm done.
So it's kind of nice that he's opened with Yennefer here, just because this isn't a round that we intend to win. This is one that we intend to kind of try and get through our cards with. So what we're going to do, I think, is just play Olgierd. This is, you know, hopefully we'll get more cards out of Radovid, which is nice for us. We can start discarding our cards, you know, into the graveyard with the King Bran. And then we can also potentially look to Ermi on this round, but maybe it's better to wait till the next round. So we'll play our King Bran here. And we're going to discard... If we didn't have Olgierd, I probably would have discarded Olgierd here. We want to discard both of our Queensguard. And we probably also want to discard... I mean, we could discard a Clan and Crate Raider just to also get it out of the deck. I mean, it's going to be revived here, which isn't super useful for us because we don't intend to play it. But all in all, this isn't too bad. Radovid will probably play a Temerian Foot Soldier here, I would imagine. If he has it in hand. If he didn't get it in the mulligan, that's kind of unfortunate.
How about
Priscilla.
Gwent?
Okay, so maybe Priscilla into the Temerian Foot Soldier. That's another common Radovid strategy. And if you watch my previous Radovid deck, you'll kind of see it get played. And kind of understand a little bit more about it. But honestly, this is perfectly fine for us. Him buffing a load of cards. We don't intend to win here anyway. So we're in a kind of nice position. We're going to play our Queensguard, which will in turn resurrect the 2 we just discarded. And we did that because we want to buff our Cerys unit, basically. Because now that Cerys is buffed, we're in a nice position. He should pass. I think he should pass, but I don't know if he feels confident with 14 extra points. We don't intend to play any more cards. If he plays another card, that's nice. But if he doesn't, you know, it's all well and good for us because we want to get into the next round. We want to try and find, you know, some more draw options to try and get through the 12 cards left in our deck. Drawing 2 more cards is going to be good. And like I say, Skellige doesn't typically want to win this round. So let's just wait and see what happens. Oh, he's thinking about playing cards. You can see because he's mousing over cards. So he's decided to play another card. Which is good for us. We want him to do that. Come on, play it. Oh, yes, silly goose. He's like, I'll kill her Queensguard. This is fine. We didn't want to win this one anyway. It would have been nice if we'd had Burner. We would have played her here and used that to get another card and also to get some more discards out. But unfortunately, we didn't find her. The thing is, right, here, like, we got another card out of him, so we got card advantage, which is really, really big. You can see Olgierd gets pulled straight back out of the graveyard. He got buffed by the Skellige ability and then debuffed. And we've got some more options for, like, getting through our cards, which is super lovely. So let's look into this. Go on, play. He's having a think. We do want to resurrect our Queensguards this turn, so we will definitely do that. Villain Trenmuth is really annoying, but not the end of the round. Let's play Ermion then and see what we get. So we got Yennefer and Decoy. Okay, Yennefer and Decoy is good. In terms of our discard, I think what I'm going to discard is one of the Elsa's Thunder. I mean, we have two, so, you know, we're in an okay position with that. And probably one of the Shieldsmiths. It means that we can't buff our Cerys units as much, but that's kind of okay, because ultimately what we want to do here is, you know, we've got the Daig Bondahu, for example, so we can use that to buff it, so that's not too bad. The thing is, with Villain Trenmuth, it does really kind of limit what he can play. He's played Stennis because he knows that Stennis will get killed here, so he's happy to do that and get a card. We'll play our... let me have a quick think. I don't want to resurrect the Queensguards yet. This is where things get a little bit tricky, because I don't actually want to resurrect the Queensguards, because I want to buff them with Daig Bondahu, but he's going to get killed by Olgierd. Potentially we could decoy this to the other side. I think this is probably worth doing, because it's going to die anyway, right? So we may as well just get the card draw from it, which is something that we do want. So we can have Lacerate or the face down one. We'll take the face down one. And that is a Clan and Crate Raider. This isn't too bad, because we can actually discard him with Svanrigga, so this is fine. And the thing is, at the moment, like, Stennis is going to die. So he doesn't get the benefit from Stennis. He's got Ciri, which is nice, but again, we're not too worried here. If we play Svanrigga, he will die. So potentially what we could do here to buy ourselves some time is play Yennefer. Alternatively, we could play Elsa's Thunder, but there's not really a good target for it. I think we'll just play Yennefer for now. This is actually meant that his Villain Trenmuth wasn't as effective as he would have liked it to be, which is really, really good. And we can still, like I say, we can play Daig Bondahu and start buffing our Queensguards, and now we're not so worried about his control. I mean, he's probably going to, I would imagine, Radovid the Yennefer anyway. That's kind of a standard play, because Yennefer's a pain in the butt, but we'll see what happens. You can see he's kind of a little bit worried here, and we have definitely been being very tactical with our plays, and Villain Trenmuth wasn't nearly as problematic as we expected it to be. Cool, so let's get Daig Bondahu out, and we will buff our Queensguards. And you'll see that actually I'm buffing ones that have different amounts of strength, because in doing that, you make yourself less susceptible to Scorch and Igni. And we can always, you know, replay this with a Resurrect, for example, should we want to. But for now, we're probably going to Svanrigga. And then we can discard the Clan and Crate Warrior with the Svanrigga and still get a card back, which is nice. So, pop him down. And discard the Clan and Crate Raider, which then gets played, which is nice. And you can see, unfortunately, you know, we're having a little bit of a tricky time in terms of getting through all of our cards, unfortunately, but it's not really the end of the world. Like, we've got 6 cards left, but we didn't find, what's her face? Yuta. What we'll do here, I think, is we will Sigdrifer. We're going to Sigdrifer the Daig Bondahu, because by bringing him back, we can then also buff our Queensguard some more. So we'll buff we'll buff this one and this one. And you're kind of just, like I say, you know, buffing across the board so that then they're less targetable by things like Scorch, which is very common in this sort of deck, for example. I mean, the thing is here, we still need to kind of find a win, and the problem maybe is that, like, the Shieldsmiths we would want to target onto the Queensguard, but as it is, you know, we're not finding them, so that's okay. Come along, play a card. Maybe he feels like he can win.
Are more important than this.
So him killing Sigdrifer is good, because we can always resurrect her and then resurrect something else, but we'll do that on another turn. I think for now, we're just going to have to, you know, potentially start buffing things. Or we could remove his card. We could remove his 6 for now and then see what he does. Yeah, let's just Elsa's Thunder this. I just want to kind of see what he does. I mean, we've got 9 strength in hand. twice. So we've got, sorry, 8 strength in hand. So we've got 16 points in hand that we can play. And I actually comfortably think we can win the final round with the cards that we have here. Even if we don't find Cerys, it's pretty much okay. And so potentially, I guess you could run this deck without Cerys, but she's just synergizes so well with Queensguard that I feel like what's the point of playing Queensguard without their Cerys, you know? I'm assuming she's a queen that they got. I haven't actually played much Witcher. Frost? That is a strange choice. I guess he didn't want to debuff these guys. So we'll play our Shieldsmith. We'll buff our Clan and Crate Raider. We don't want to buff this row just in case he starts, like, you know, scorching or whatever. We want to, you know, kind of make sure that the row is protected. And ultimately that if he removes one of our stronger cards, that it's not the strongest. And we have 2 Resurrect, so we could actually Resurrect the Queensguard. The only problem is, like, he's got snow, so if we do Resurrect the Queensguard, that's not going to be as potent as we might like it to be. But he's only got 1 card left, and if he's going all out, you can see he decided against it. And that was questionable, because now what we can do, we'll have a quick look what's in here. We can Resurrect the Queensguard, and that will give us enough points to win the round. We only need a couple points. So let's just Resurrect a Queensguard. Even though they're going to get hit by Frost, it's absolutely fine, because that's also buffing our Cerys, which we could potentially top deck, right? So now we will pass. And we have a Restore in hand, so we can just Resurrect those 3, you know, Queensguard again, and we're going to be in a really nice position. Unfortunately, he got Ciri back, so he has a slight card advantage, but then we get Augured out of the graveyard anyway. Oh my god, and we found Cerys. Look at that sexy top deck. So we can Restore, and then with Restore you Resurrect Sigdrifa, and then with Sigdrifa you Resurrect a Queensguard, and in Resurrecting the Queensguard you Resurrect more Queensguard, and in Resurrecting more Queensguard you then play Cerys.
Oh, I sense trouble.
And I don't think he can win this one. Like, I just don't see it happening. There's 17 strength in 1 card. And there's the surrender. So that is more or less it for the discard deck. You can just see, like, the consistency that we got through those cards. We kept pulling those Queensguards back up. We played the, you know, we buffed the Queensguards twice. We didn't get to play the Shieldsmith, but that's okay, because we have other options for buffing cards. And it's just such a consistent deck. And we can afford to spend, you know, Priestess of Freya's resurrecting the Queensguards time and time again, because we also have Restore and Sigdrifa, so lots and lots of options there. I'll jump into a game with the budget deck now, and we'll try that one out and see how it goes.
Sit at my table and let's drink. Of course, friend.
Okay, so it's the discard mirror this time. As we're playing the budget deck, you know, it's going to be a little bit less effective than the non-budget deck, but still hopefully pretty good. We'll mulligan our Clan and Crate Raiders, because we do not need these for this round. And potentially we can actually mulligan one of our Skirmishers as well, because we can always throw them in the graveyard anyway, so that we can resurrect them. So, you know, this seems pretty okay. In terms of how you play this deck, I quite like to play the War Longship turn 1, just to kind of, you know, put a little bit of threat on the board. And then we can start discarding things. And, you know, then if things go south, we can play Burner. So that's also a nice option. And he's already discarding things. So we'll get the War Longship out. There it is in all its glory. What's he going to do? Play his own War Longship. Okay, so let's start discarding things. We'll play our Bran ability. And honestly, we could discard the Clan and Crate Raiders here just to get them into the discards. And I'm actually going to do that, I think. So we'll discard this Clan and Crate Raider, this Clan and Crate Raider, and this Clan and Crate Raider, because they get replayed, right? So they're just going to come straight back out, which is nice. And because it's a mirror match, I'm actually comfortable trying to win the first round. Normally, in the first round, you know, you're not really trying to win. Holy smoke, that was a scorch and a half. So yeah, now we no longer care about winning, which is fine, because it just means that we'll play Burner. We'll draw 3 cards, and we keep 1 and discard the other 2. I think we should keep the Scorch, and we'll discard the Alza's Thunder and the Lacerate. They're both nice cards. Normally, you know, you get better options for your discard, but as it is, it's fine. The funny thing here is he's playing more cards. He's still kind of going for it, which is fine, because we fully intend to pass.
Praise be the bravest.
I mean, we could play the Skirmisher just so that we can resurrect him, but, you know, at this point, I like the card advantage that we have, so I'm okay with letting him have the round, really. And we can have a quick look in his graveyard, see what he's been discarding. It's Queensguards. Yeah, so he's running the Queensguard strategy with the Demon Pirates, which is what I mentioned during the deck building, that, you know, some people run Queensguards, some people run Demon Pirates. It's a very kind of flexible deck in terms of what you can choose to play. So we got Geralt and the Skirmishers. And we can potentially, you know, just get these Skirmishers discarded, which is nice.
Yield and save me some time.
So we can run Ermion and then discard these guys, which gives us options to resurrect them later on.
If you wish.
So we've got another Resurrect and another Resurrect. Yeah, we're discarding them. These guys are going to be better for us in the graveyard, so let's put them in there. Especially with the amount of Resurrections that we have in hand.
Ugh, gods protect us.
And you can see here he's going for a fairly, you know, similar strategy. I want to get at least one resurrected, so we'll definitely play at least one Priestess of Freya for now, just to start getting that guy, you know, buffed up and getting a particularly strong skirmisher. We've also got the Shieldsmith in hand. We can play this turn. It really depends on, you know, how aggressive our opponent goes, but with his 2-card disadvantage, you know, he's in a bit of a tough spot. Yeah, he doesn't really intend to win it. Unfortunately, we can't pass until he passes, because if we pass now, he'll just play all of these cards and beat us, because he has the one card, you know, advantage. But that's okay. We'll play our Skirmisher and we'll buff... Sorry, we'll play our Shieldsmith and buff our Skirmisher. We've got a nice point advantage. He's going to take Ciri back, but then we're on even numbers of cards, which is fine.
Come on, let's go. Time to face our fears.
So the whale is kind of annoying. It bounces between rows and, like, debuffs your cards. It's a bit irritating, but it's ultimately not the end of the world. And we have 2 Resurrects in hand, so I'm actually fairly comfortable to go for a second Resurrect. The thing is, we can always Dimmeritian Bomb and reset the units that he's debuffing. So let's go for that. We'll pull back another Skirmisher. And you can see there now it's on 10. And we can resurrect both of these next turn, and they'll get, what, 3 base strength, so it'll be a 15 plus the Skellige, a 16 and a 14, I think. Which is pretty nice. And again, I'm just not hugely worried about this, you know? Actually, can we do this? A locked unit. Lock a non-gold unit on the battlefield. Yeah, we should have done this. We can just lock this, and now it no longer debuffs us. We should have done that earlier. Cleaver, I thought you could only play on the opposite side, but it turns out that you can't. Read your cards, ladies and gentlemen. Read your cards. Oh dear. The fact that he's still playing cards is really stressing me out, because I don't want to play any more cards. Like, I'm in such a lead, but he seems to want to keep playing cards. But ultimately, this is fine. Like, I feel like we have enough strength in hand that we can win, is the thing. The only thing that's maybe a little bit questionable is Scorch, but he has to play first. So we can potentially just Scorch whatever he plays. I don't understand. So, still playing cards. Tried to rally, and you can see, like, he's gone through all of his deck, and rally is literally worthless at this point. Is he likely to buff the row? Maybe. I think we hold off on these 2. Let's just play Gerald for now. Like I say, we've got the Resurrects in hand, so we've got a lot of points and a lot of options. We just need to be a little kind of wary of him. There's the pass. I mean, the thing is, we were far ahead, but because we're second, we just can't afford to keep playing. But I think we have a lot of good cards in hand. And we've got, what, 5 cards left in the deck? So we have options. On top of that, we can Scorch whatever it is that he plays first. And we get the last card, which is nice. And we got a boat. Boat is not that useful, unfortunately, because we're not really discarding any more cards. But it is what it is. We will play the boat for now. On the off chance that he plays something strong that we can Scorch.
Ho ho, I sense trouble.
Yeah, he's not decided to. So I guess Scorch isn't going to be that useful for us, unfortunately. So we'll play the Restore, which lets us revive something. But you can actually revive a Priestess of Freya. So we'll chain it into a Priestess of Freya. And then grab, you know, that super buffed Skirmisher. And we've got 16 points on the field, which is nice.
I'm ready.
There's Cerys, which means he's played a load of Queensguards. She's nicely buffed. He's happy with that. And this is the alternative strategy that you did see me play. We'll get our other Skirmisher out. See what happens with this. He's got 3 cards left. Ours, we've got 2, but they're not particularly useful. He doesn't know this, though. And we can make these silver, which is nice.
Protect you from all evil.
Alternatively, we can actually reset Sigdrifa, so we'll probably do that. It's not going to be worth a lot, because she obviously gets buffed when you resurrect things. I'm assuming he's going to resurrect a Queensguard. It would be kind of dumb not to.
Time to face our fears.
Oh, Lugos. That is unfortunate, but not the end of the world. I mean, we can make Cerys bronze, but I don't think he's going to do enough damage to us that it's going to be a problem, is the thing. So maybe we make Sigdrifa, we remove 1. You know what, let's make her bronze just in case he somehow does enough damage that we can Scorch. I don't think it'll happen, but, you know, just in case.
But she brooks no insult.
Here come the Queensguards. If we lose by 1 point, we lose by 1 point, you know. There's not a lot I can do about that. Oh, we're going to lose by a lot more than 1 point. Oh. If only this guy was slightly less strong. We'll just have to pass. But, I mean, this was the budget deck, and we were going up against the Cerys deck. And I feel like, you know, we did an okay job, you know. I don't feel like we necessarily, you know, lost by a huge margin. So you can see that even without Cerys and Queensguards, the deck is still it's still decent. The problem, unfortunately for us, was that we couldn't Scorch. And if we'd Scorched the 16, you know, we still wouldn't have necessarily won, but I think we would have been pretty close. So those are the budget and the competitive versions of the deck, and you can kind of see which direction you want to take the deck in as you build more cards. And it is a deck that you can definitely kind of adapt and evolve as the game goes on. Morkvarg is another card worth kind of trying to find and putting in the deck. And again, just kind of play around with it and find kind of a set of cards that, you know, works for you and kind of go with that. That's what I would recommend. But if you like this video, do hit that thumbs up button, guys. And let me know in the comments below what you want to see from the channel, or if any changes or misplays, or did I miss lethal or whatever, in the comments below. And if you want to catch me live streaming Gwent, you can find me at twitch.tv/Jaggerus. I'm Jaggerus on Twitter, and I'll have a link to my Discord in the description as well. I've got hiccups now. Thanks for watching, have a fantastic day, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye!